Hello, I'm Donald Leggett and welcome to Share Views, brought to you by the financial website London South East. Colin Hutchinson, the Chief Executive of Ascent Resources, is with us today and he's here to outline a new strategic direction for the company. Welcome, Colin.
Hi, Donald.
So, busy as ever?
Yes, it's been a very busy time. There's a lot going on.
And you have a new strategic direction for Ascent Resources. Tell us all.
Well, it's really revisiting what we've talked about this previously. I think before we initiated the strategic review, we'd been talking about going out and looking for more assets in the region. Now that that review's concluded, we're still 100% committed to getting Petisovci up and running properly and developing it to its full potential. But we're also looking for other interesting projects in the region. We think there's a lot that could be done in countries where there's good geology and good oil and gas infrastructure.
So what exactly do you have in mind by that? So you have an umbrella operation above the Petisovci gas field. You can look for new things to do.
Well, I think where we are in Petisovci, we're located right out in the northeastern tip of the country on the border with Hungary and Croatia, and the geology doesn't stop at the border. There's good oil and gas projects throughout the region. And what we've done now is we've brought on board John Buggenhagen, who's going to join the management team. He's got a lot of experience in the region in finding good oil and gas projects.
Okay, which takes us to the changes in personnel.
Yeah.
John Buggenhagen is on board. You've lost a couple of people at the other end. So tell me what those board changes and the personnel changes all mean.
So on the departure side, Clive has stepped down. He's been chairman since 2013 and taken the company through some turbulent times. We thank Clive for all that he's done for the company and wish him well in the future. He's got a lot of other interests that he's going to focus on.
He has indeed got a lot of other interests.
He does. And Cameron Davies, who's been a non-exec director for a long period of time, knows the company very well, knows the project, is going to step in as chairman. And additionally, Nigel Moore, who's been with the company for a long period of time, he's going to step down and retire in the near future, and will replace Nigel with another sort of suitably qualified non-exec.
And then John?
And then the other change coming in then as well is John, who I mentioned, very experienced geophysicist, history of finding good oil and gas projects in the region, spent a lot of time in Hungary, actually spent time in Slovenia before and knows the project.
Yeah, he's going to be an American in Slovenia.
Yes, and he's a good choice and will help develop Petisovci before permits come in. There are things that we can do that John's looking at. Once the permits come through, there are things obviously we can do to bring the project forward, and then as well we can look at other projects in the region. And the final point is that I had been part-time while the strategic review had been going on, and we sort of been focused just on trying to find a partner and hadn't really been focused on developing other projects or developing the Petisovci. But now I'm back full-time.
We'll come to that in a mo. Do you have any new financial backers, access to debt, or are you living within your revenues, which, as you said in your most recent RNS, amounts to quite a decent amount of revenues of 2.1 million euros? Yes,
revenues have been reasonably good. I mean, the gas price has been high, and I think production hasn't declined as much as maybe we'd feared back in the summer. We also put in quite a lot of cost-cutting measures back in the summer as well to ensure that we could live within their means. So the net result is we end up closing the year with much more cash in the balance sheet than we would have originally expected. So I think we're in a reasonably strong position.
Is that one of the reasons why you're back with us full-time?
I think me coming back full-time is more about the amount of work there is to do. The strategic review is gone and finished. We're looking forward now. I'm hoping that we get permits in Slovenia that allow us to develop the field as we'd hoped. There are other things in Slovenia we can do independent of permitting to improve production or prolong production from the existing wells, and maybe look at some additional wells. And then there are other things we can do in the region. So there's a lot of work to do, and that's the reason for coming back full time.
So why are you sticking with this project when a couple of the other people who you've been with for such a long time have decided to move on? Why are you being brave and bold and giving it one last push?
Well, it's not a case of giving it one last push. I still very much believe in the project. I think the project has huge benefits for Slovenia. Environmentally, Slovenia's got this big challenge of hitting its carbon dioxide targets, and the transitioning from coal to gas is a way of helping them. It offers huge economic benefits to the country. There's probably 100 million euros of benefits in terms of tax investment that's going to come through to the country if this project is developed. And strategically, there's a big benefit. I mean, they don't produce any of their own gas supply at the minute. Their neighbours are all producing 10 to 20%, and I think it's important in this current age of geopolitical instability that countries are able to produce as much of their own natural resources as possible. So I think the benefits to the project are clear, and I hope that that then means that we get the permits that we need in due course. Once they've gone through all the proper procedures and checks that need to be done, that the permits get awarded and we can develop the project. So I'm still very excited about what we have in Slovenia, and I'm also very excited about working with John to find other projects in the region where we can leverage what our partners and the people, things that we know from the Slovenian project to leverage elsewhere.
And what is this new strategy about? Is it about buying you some breathing space while the permitting situation either resolves itself or it doesn't, and you then decide to take legal action in the courts? Is it about buying breathing space?
No, it's not about buying breathing space. It's about making best use of the time that we have. We're focused on doing whatever's required to get the permits awarded and answering any questions that come up and going through that process. We'd also like to develop Petisovci and do things, anything that can be done without the permits. We want to progress that, and John helps us to do that. We also want to look for other assets in other jurisdictions to make best use of everyone's time. We can use the guys in Slovenia to look at assets elsewhere so that we're making best use of what we have and growing the company.
So there's more can be done on the current cost base?
Yes, absolutely. We have skilled people in Slovenia that can help with looking at other projects in the region, and it makes sense to.
And does that excite you, Colin?
It does. It's very much so. I'm hoping that we have a much better 2019 than 2018, that we have progress in Slovenia and we find some other exciting things to do in the region. Okay,
here we go. My almost final question. What happens next with Ascent? What can we expect in the next few months?
In the next few months, we'll obviously progress the permitting process, and we'll see where we get to with that. We're also progressing the legal route, which we mentioned in the RNS, so if we do not get anywhere with the permits, we have those options open to us. But I hope also we were able to develop Petisovci, do things there without the permits coming through, and hopefully identify some other projects in the region that people can get excited about.
Do you have a time frame for the amount you can actually extend those revenues out of Petisovci without the permits?
There are. We've had studies done recently, and there are ways that we can install compression equipment, and there are things we can do in the field that would prolong what we've got.
Good, very interesting. What should shareholders do? Hold on tight? Hold on very tight?
I'm hoping that shareholders have been very patient so far. The company's obviously been through a particularly difficult time since the permitting delays in October.
But it is what it is, Colin. These things have been driven by Slovenian bureaucracy as much as anything else. So I think shareholders have to take the rough with the smooth, don't they?
They've been very patient, and I hope that 2019 is a more positive year for the company.
Okay. Colin Hutchinson, CEO of Ascent, thank you very much indeed for joining us today for that operational update. And if you found this interview useful, please subscribe on YouTube to more just like it. Thank you very much indeed.